In fact, even the government partnered is a little bit better because that's directed through the political process, not the market process. If you know a road is going down your land, you know that the intersection is going to be here. All of a sudden, your land becomes pretty valuable, and you can put the Walmart on there.
Right.
But if you don't know where the land's going to be, speculation is truly that, speculation. So how do we deal with this?
Part of this has to be an education effort, because you use the example of Walmart. There was a 2004 Supreme Court decision coming out of Colorado that went the right way. This is a state Supreme Court decision. The court overthrew, struck down the Arvada Urban Renewal Authority's efforts to pave over a privately owned lake to put in a Walmart parking lot. I was part of that coalition. Senator Mitchell was part of that coalition, as were members of the Green Party, environmentalists, people who had never voted a day in their life, unions, homeschooling families. It was one of the best coalitions I've ever been part of. But in that case, the government was trying to take an environment where a bald eagle resided. It was a very important community lake, important to those people who lived in Southeast Arvada. And this is an area where 500 people were dislocated, removed, sent to other local municipalities in the name of urban renewal. So I really think what we need to be doing is talking about how in Telluride it may protect the environment, but there's nothing to stop the next local government from saying, I'm not going to take 500 acres from open space. I'm going to take however many acres for the Walmart. And if you look at what the Supreme Court said, communities can condemn land for, quote, any lawful, public, local, and municipal purpose, anything at all. And what if that means Walmart? Who's going to stop it?
This has been really cheery for me. I'm really glad to get this upper. So let's see if I understand this correctly. So the Supreme Court here in Colorado overwhelmingly says home rule cities have the ability to go outside their city boundaries and take private property for whatever purpose they want. They want. Anything they consider to be useful. We see now that we've got a coalition of some very powerful folks, the foot soldiers from the left on the environmental side, joined with the builders and contractors and land dealers on the right. So
and
now,
the finance people,
and
too.
Of course, yes, bond dealers are everywhere. You can't do anything without them. So you've got this incredible coalition, and on the other side, you've got rich guy from out of town who's not here. You got some poor guys who do it. You have the Independence Institute and your webpage, which is propertyrightsproject.org.
Well, you have
so
public
what
opinion.
the hell do you do?
You have to get the word out, because when the public hears about these cases, they react fairly, and they're angry that someone's getting the shaft from government. But too often it doesn't get covered. The stories don't get told. We beat the drum, go on shows like this, write letters to the editor, call talk radio. People have to hear about citizens being chased off their property by government.
And this is a bad, horrific decision in Telluride, but you also had a good decision coming out of the Supreme Court, courtesy of Rebecca Love Corliss in 2004. This was the Walmart condemnation effort by the city of Arvada. And so it seems like the pendulum swings. And after Kelo, after the Walmart decision, public outrage was to an all new level. We've never seen such public outrage. Now, as this decision comes out, you see both major Denver newspapers editorializing against the court's decision, but you see a lot of public apathy, because the way this decision is communicated is that this is about open space.
All right. You put forward this law. It's now been struck down. As a state senator, what are you going to do about this here? Is this something that the state on the legislative level can do? Or since the Supreme Court said it is their constitutional right now to take land outside of their own boundaries, these home rule cities, do we have to change the Constitution? How do we go about doing that?
I'm afraid that's the situation we're in. When the court makes a constitutional ruling, the legislature can't change that by statute. The only thing we could do is try and amend the Constitution to make clear that people should be safe in their homes and not vulnerable to their neighboring cities' condemnation powers. I'm looking at proposing a referred measure next session of the legislature. We'd put before voters and ask people to clarify that no, governments can't condemn property outside their boundaries. That's the only way we can do it.
And the only way you can do it then is to get, was it two-thirds
yes.
of your colleagues to put this on the ballot, and then you've got to get a majority of us to vote for it
citizens
in the next general election. So this is a pretty large-scale undertaking if we're going to correct this, what I think most of us would agree is a pretty serious abuse.
It is, and to be honest, it's probably a pretty steep hill to climb to get two-thirds of the legislature to vote for this, because it's voting against the wisdom and power of government, and most politicians are quite happy with the wisdom and power of government. So if we can't get the required supermajority in the legislature, then we'll look at an initiative drive and go out and gather signatures and put it on the ballot that way.
And let's just talk about the last initiative effort. There was an effort in '05 that would have put curbs on eminent domain powers for urban renewal, in addition to the bill that he championed in '04. And while we weren't successful in getting the signatures necessary, you have to get about 120,000 under current law, the proponents of this initiative, mom and pop shop owner, small business owners, people like myself, the same sort of coalition we saw with the Save the Lake effort in Arvada, they were able to gather 40,000 signatures. These were people that sat outside of King Soopers and Safeway every Saturday, every Sunday for months. And so there is the desire to have these sorts of changes. And all it's going to take is one or two well-endowed businessmen or businesswomen to say, enough is enough. Chipping in that $1 million, couple $1 million, getting those signatures. I have no doubt that if one of these initiatives gets onto the ballot, it will pass, and it will pass overwhelmingly. National polling shows that the disgust of eminent domain abuse in America is at an all-time high. People are ready for these types of changes.
It almost reminds me of term limits, or even the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, or something else where people have to go in and say, government, you can't do this. You can't run for 3 terms. You cannot go and raise taxes without asking. So we want something that just says, listen, you can't take public property and give it to private individuals. You cannot condemn outside your boundaries. You have to follow these rules. And I think people are sick of this. After what happened in Boulder, my hometown, where adverse possession took away somebody's property and gave it to their neighbor, I think we're ready for this. It's disappointing that the people you work with don't seem to be ready for it, at least not 2/3 of them.
You know, that's interesting. I think you're right. This is sort of a populist issue and a populist rallying cry. There are people that believe in government by experts and by planners and really smart people telling everyone else how to live. And there are people that believe in freedom and choice and property rights. And this is one of those populist issues where people that believe in human rights need to stand up to government and push back.
It's not going to be easy. People want more information. Where do they go?
PropertyRightsProject.org.
PropertyRightsProject.org. You're always looking for some good hard luck stories as well.
I am. We want to be the voice for all those people out there. And we know there's thousands across Colorado that haven't gotten their fair shake in eminent domain proceedings.
So what you need people to come out there and tell you those stories.
Exactly.
So that once people hear them, it'll help. What do you need in order to get this done on the legislative level?
I need people to be interested enough to call their legislators, to write, to email, to communicate their strong feelings so that we can push the
Shawn,
measure through.
Appreciate it. Jessica, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And you, tell a friend about the Independence Institute. Check out our webpage at independenceinstitute.org. We'll see you next week.
You jabba jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, You jabba jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.